If y'all had to guess what Trump's number one enemy would be, who would you say? The rogue district court judges who keep telling Trump he's not allowed to take a dump all over due process? The evil liberal billionaire George Soros? The lady who keeps cutting him off when he's had too much at the Palm Beach tan? No, it's actually teenagers and elderly immigrants, on which he's imposing his harshest and most unprecedented punishment yet: financial murder. Rachel Maddow did a great segment on this, and I'll play that for you. Then we'll take a deeper dive into the reporting and check out the details.
Really knew the program. He really knows the stakes for Americans. He also knows the rules. And he personally tried to push back on a new plan from the Trump administration. According to new reporting from the Washington Post, he told his Trump-installed superior at the Social Security Administration that what the administration was planning to do was, quote, illegal and cruel and, quote, risked declaring the wrong people dead. The Trump administration responded by having security physically escort him out of the building. They marched him out, put him on administrative leave. The plan this 25-year veteran career staffer was trying to stop at Social Security is something that we just started learning about last week. Social Security, under Donald Trump, is moving thousands of people to the agency's death master file, which means they're knowingly misclassifying living people as dead. Because when you're listed as dead by Social Security, you can lose basically everything almost instantly. Your health insurance, your home, your bank account, your job, your credit card, even your phone, everything. These people are alive, but they are knowingly classifying them as dead to make it impossible for them to live in this country. They're imposing on them a kind of civil and financial death. Since we reported on that story last week, people in and around the Social Security Administration have been jumping up and down and shouting about this. Just this one Washington Post piece has 15 sources for this story. Current and former Social Security officials trying to tell the world what is happening and why this is so scary. The Post reviewed records showing that the Trump administration has already added more than 6,000 people to the death file. The White House, quote, told the Post that the roughly 6,000 immigrants they have done this to all have links to either terrorist activity or criminal records. Do they? The records the Post reviewed showed those more than 6,000 people included a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, and two 16-year-olds, as well as one person in their 80s and a handful in their 70s. They're all terrorists? Even the 13-year-old? All of those people now legally dead, according to Social Security, which means, again, no bank account, no job, no property, no credit card, nothing. One source warned the Washington Post that, yes, they're doing this to immigrants, but this is very clearly something that they could do to anyone. Quote, anybody granted the appropriate permissions within Social Security could mark someone as dead without having to prove their demise in any way. Employees' fear was partly that a bad actor who gained access to government credentials could label groups of living individuals as dead to target them for punishment. Some of those raising the alarm worried specifically that the Trump administration might try to use the database to go after people the president dislikes. Washington Post also has a single source telling them that within Social Security, the concern about this misuse of the death master file is so high that the general counsel's office inside Social Security is, quote, preparing an opinion that will find the Trump administration's unprecedented use of the death database to be a violation of privacy law. In other words, to be illegal. The opinion will take issue with the agency knowingly and falsely declaring that living people are dead. Now, NBC News has not confirmed that reporting. Obviously, if the general counsel of the administration did that, that might be a big deal. But whether or not that happens, the level of alarm over what the Trump administration is doing with the Social Security Administration right now is very clear. Former Biden Social Security Commissioner Martin O'Malley described what they're doing, having your name added to that death master file, as, quote, tantamount to financial murder.
This is probably the most direct way a government can ruin a person's life, short of breaking down your door and disappearing you in the middle of the night. We're sliding even further down the slippery slope. First, it's terrorist gang members, then it's violent criminals, and then it's illegal immigrants, and now we're at legal immigrants.
CBS News reports that the Social Security Administration recently renamed its Death Master File to what's now called the Ineligible Master File. That file is meant to track deceased individuals to prevent them from receiving benefits, but being added to it can cut off access to financial institutions and benefits. In March, the SSA said a false death report can immediately stop benefits, cause serious financial hardship, and be long and difficult to reverse. The first group affected includes more than 6,000 immigrants who entered the country through a Biden-era parole program. Some were reportedly flagged for possible criminal or security concerns, but those details haven't been confirmed. White House spokesperson Elizabeth Houston says President Trump promised mass deportations, and by removing the monetary incentive for illegal aliens to come and stay, we will encourage them to self-deport. He is delivering on his promise he made to the American people. But concern is growing that other immigrants with legal Social Security numbers, like those who have legal work authorization, could be targeted next. Senate Finance Committee ranking member Ron Wyden of Oregon said the action raises the prospect of the Trump administration stealing legally earned Social Security benefits from American citizens. He went on to say further proof that Trump's promise to protect Social Security is a lie.
Now, some conservative wads are going to argue that these people are illegal and should have never been in the country to begin with. I know this because the comments under this video are horrendous. I think it should be pretty simple. If you're a citizen, you get a Social Security number. If you're not a citizen, you don't get one no matter what. How can you have an SS number if you're temporary? Good insight, Boogerfinger. This whole comment section is infested with knuckle draggers who are unwilling or unable to understand certain key concepts. The obvious first thing is that these are not illegal immigrants. These are people in the process of immigration, legal immigration, whose status is being ripped away from them by a soggy orange kumquat who has an immigrant wife. Trump has been routinely dismantling legal pathways because they don't think that immigrants should be coming here at all. I mean, the whole thing is ironic because they don't seem to realize that having a Social Security number doesn't mean that you're collecting Social Security benefits. Migrants who work in the U.S. legally are given either Social Security numbers or ITINs, depending on their situation. Either way, they're given these numbers in order to pay taxes. Taxes that amount to almost $90 billion a year, and that's in taxes paid to the IRS. When talking specifically about the effect on Social Security, there are a number of ways in which illegal and legal immigrants are a net positive on the system. For one, due to an aging population and dwindling birth rates, we run the risk of not having enough workers to pay into the system. Because of that, immigration is expected to be the sole driver of U.S. population growth by 2040. 77% of the immigrants who enter the country are of working age, which strengthens the worker-to-beneficiary ratio, helping to shore up Social Security's payroll tax base. On top of that, because foreign-born workers spent some period of time out of the United States, on average, they're expected to have 19% less benefits paid out to them when it's their time to retire. And when they do retire, it's found that many of them retire back in their native countries, making them no longer eligible to receive benefits. By not fully drawing those benefits, foreign-born contributors can generate net gains for Social Security trust funds. And when it comes to unauthorized immigrants, i.e. illegal, quote-unquote, in 2022 alone, they contributed $25 billion in Social Security taxes, meaning unauthorized workers are automatically a net gain to Social Security. It's more obvious than ever that this was never about terrorists or criminals or people taking people's jobs. This was always about solidifying what American is as whatever they are, and demonizing anybody else who wants to live the American dream. But I think Trump is going to find out how quickly dreams can turn to nightmares if he keeps going down this slippery slope. I'm Tony Hinderman with Really American, and I'll catch you next time.